Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we had some serious XRP price action last night. I think it went almost as high as almost like 59 cents, but we'll look at all that. First, I wanted to show you this from Nick Birafeto at Link2. Polysign, they're going to have Polysign equity back on the Link2 platform. It sold out last time, I think. It's going to be back on the platform today at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and it's going to it says being unavailable for 2 weeks, and then after being unavailable for 2 weeks. And they, by the way, they do have a notification button on there if you haven't clicked it, and it'll let you know. But anyway, the link to that, they are my sponsor. Link to that's in the top of the description if you want to go check that out. All right, XRP, if you look here, it's been in the last 24 hours, it's been as low as 49 cents, as high as 58 cents. I think on like Fiat Leak, it's been even higher. But let's go look, let's see what it shows on CoinMarketCap. Last 24 hours up 12%, which is more than anything in the top 10, it looks like. And then let's go look here. This is Coin Paprika return rates. XRP's up 24% in 7 days, 51% in 30 days, 68% in 1 quarter. It's got a better performance on the 7 and 30 day than both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And for the year, it's got a better, they're all down, but it's got a better return than both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And yet we don't see CNBC running features. I thought it was a good time to remind you that on December 29th of 2017, this came out. I showed this the other day. Meet Ripple, the currency that's running laps around Bitcoin. It had gone up 30,000%. This is the same day. This is what a lot of people don't remember, is that at the time that all of the lies and the lawsuits and all the FUD and the Jay Clayton's meeting at Andreessen Horowitz, at the time when all of that got started, this is what was going on. This is what they would have you not know, is that Ripple was surging, and easily, if Ripple had kept going where it was going, it would have been number one, where its rightful place, which I believe it will be in the end anyway. But they had to lie, they had to steer, they had to get their media friends involved in the FUD, and their crypto pundits get on and lie and tell you they're shorting XRP and they just don't understand it. They had to do all of that. And guess who's going to win, in my opinion, in the end? Well, I think that it's an appropriate time. I'm not going to play all of it, but I did think that it would be fun to pull up Fiat Leak while you watch this just a little bit.
For their carbon credit solution, XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple, who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America. Ripple, who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve. Ripple, a former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division. Ripple, leading Australia's CBDC effort. Ripple, who hired a former Treasury of the United States. Ripple, 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board. Ripple, 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team. Ripple, who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website. Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.
All right, that was fun. So now we have the chart guys, of which I don't do charting, but I like to look at some of them every once in a while. Dark Defender is trembling. He says that he's analyzed XRP, joking, I will start to shake above $13, road to victory. And he's snapshotting the 58 cent. eGreg Crypto says XRP soon in troposphere. $27 update. This is one of my best charts. When I need to see the big picture, I like to look into it. This monthly close might be the most critical monthly close in the history of XRP. Means we're visiting 70 cents and 78 cents. Moreover, closing above 78 cents, which coincides with troposphere line, means fib $1.61 is our next target. In my conviction, $27 easy. This is getting interesting now, folks. All right, John Deaton. I was listening to this yesterday, and I was cheering John Deaton because there was a guy in this guy Mark Cahotis who's a smart guy, but he obviously did not understand anything or did not have knowledge of anything that had gone on in the crypto fight against the SEC, and he was making blanket statements like, well, you guys shouldn't be trying to attack the SEC, and as if the SEC is just this totally legit organization that's just fighting for the law. And John Deaton got in there. Watch this.
But when Mark says don't fight the government, so what's Coinbase do? Shut down? When Mark says listen to the government, who? When the government says it's regulators, Gary Gensler, who won't be there 3 years from now? Well, what about when it's Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman? They say Ethereum's not a security, but a new chairman says it is a security or implies it. You have to fight the government when the government is corrupt and they overreach. Coinbase met 30 times. Coinbase has a broker-dealer license for securities and said which one of these tokens are securities. And the government says, we don't tell you, we don't give advice. The SEC says, we're not going to tell you which ones are securities, even though we're saying you're listing securities. Okay, these are assets in the secondary market. Okay, and you have a government regulator who is absolutely crushing this industry for purpose. If you talk about the Hamas language, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Ripple case when they talked about they used fraud-like language, even though they didn't allege fraud against the executives. It's because it inflames people's emotions. When you talk about terrorists, that terrorist Hamas language in the complaint is absolutely not necessary or arguably relevant to the underlying swap and derivatives charges. It's there to create the narrative for Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler to say, look, Bitcoin included is still being used primarily for illicit purposes to fund terrorism. It is a campaign that is coordinated, intended. And I'm telling you, what's going to happen is they're going to crush this market until the incumbents come in and get a bigger slice. Go on Crypto Law US, my site. Gary Gensler in April 2018 at MIT discusses this issue. He says the incumbent players are not going to let this happen. He goes on to say that the disruptors will have to pay up to 50% of their business. The man's on video at MIT before...
John just tore it up. It was classic. Here it is, folks. Here's a thread yesterday that was done, and it says, is this the end of the petrodollar? And I've said for a long time that I believe that this was all about the petrodollar, that XRP and all this stuff was about the petrodollar. This guy in this thread, he's making the point that the U.S. is just too large, the dollar is too liquid, and he's making a lot of, some of them good points about how it would be very difficult for the world to leave the petrodollar and all that. Well, and I think he's right. It would be difficult, but they're laying all the groundwork. But what I've always believed is that XRP was part of a great compromise. In other words, okay, we know we're not going to have the world reserve currency forever. Let's have a compromise where there's a shared world reserve, shared world reserve currencies. And I'm not saying XRP is one of those, but it's a bridge between all of them. That's how I've always looked at this. So is this the end? Maybe not this second, maybe not this day or week or month, but I think that the end's coming. No question about that. Now, here's Patrick McHenry. They finally got Gary Gensler coming before them.
Talking about this backstage, you made oversight of the SEC a very important part of your chairmanship. You said you'd bring in Gary Gensler, more regulatory, to have more overview than he has had in the past. We're hearing he's going to show up now in mid-April. Give us a preview.
April 18th.
Some news, folks.
This will be our first oversight hearing of the Securities Exchange Commission. This will be about his rulemaking and his approach to digital assets. It'll be a large focus on general oversight of the Securities Exchange Commission, but in terms of policy, a serious approach for us laying down what I hope to spend the next couple of months on, which is a regulatory sphere for digital assets. But he'll be there on April 18th, and glad that we finally are able to announce that and get that going. This will be the first of many regulatory hearings we have through the summer.
I will bet dimes to donuts that the Ripple case is over before then. Let me present to you a strange thing that could happen. What if Gary is very accepting of some of the results of the XRP lawsuit? What if the judge rules more or less in favor of Ripple, and Gary goes before these guys and says, hey, well, the judge has ruled now, and so this now is guidance. What if there was a flip of the script and Gary all of a sudden had a ruling that he could provide him cover where he didn't, where all of a sudden, I mean, I'm not saying it will happen, I'm saying that would be an interesting change of the whole theme of everything. Threw his hands up in the hearing, says, oh, well, now we have a ruling to point to, and so these things are not securities. This, and this. Crazier things have happened. But here, most likely what's going to happen is Gary's going to go back and forth, him and Hall, and, well, these laws have been clear for a very long time, and quote a bunch of stuff. So, most likely what's going to happen, first of all, the most important thing is, will he be under oath? Because this guy needs to be answering things where he can't sit there and not tell the truth. The second thing is this. Eleanor Terrett says, when Republicans took back the House, they reinstated something called the Holman Rule, which gives Congress power to reduce the salary of or fire a specific federal employee or cut funding for a specific program. Will any House member use the Holman Rule to rein in the SEC? See, this is how you're going to know if they have the power to do any of these, okay? Then you know that it's all a dog and pony show and just a bunch of BS if they just get up there and ask a bunch of hard questions or whatever. So we're going to know if these guys are ultimately just full of it and not going to do anything. Now look at this. This right here could get real interesting. Just in, Jamie Dimon, longtime CEO of JPMorgan, to be deposed in the guy who owned the island lawsuits. We don't say his name on this channel. Don't want to go anywhere near that. So this, folks, I've always thought that this right here had a lot to do with Bitcoin. And one thing we know for sure, because I've shown you the screenshot, is that you're seeing all these people trying to not bank crypto and all. Imagine how hard it would have been to get a bank account in crypto back in 2010, 2011. Well, Mt. Gox got one, and guess whose bank it was? That's correct, JPMorgan. Now, my computer has locked up. I tell you what, I'm going to save this for the next video. How about that? I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that JPMorgan banked Mt. Gox, and that's the fact, Jack. Thank